Ryan is 34 years old. He works in marketing at a mid-sized tech company outside of Columbus, Ohio. 2 weeks ago, he leased a BMW 5 Series, $847 a month, and the office noticed. People stopped by his desk to say something. His manager gave him a nod in the hallway. For 1 week, Ryan was the guy who had clearly figured something out. Claire is 36. She works 2 floors above Ryan. She drives a 2014 Honda Civic with 94,000 miles on it. Nobody stops by her desk. She's easy to overlook. 6 weeks ago, she reached her crossover point, the moment her investment income exceeded her monthly expenses. She could walk out of that building and never come back. Nobody knows. Both of these people work in the same building, pull similar salaries, and are perceived completely differently by everyone around them. One of them is free, and it's not the one with the new car. If you're someone who has been quietly building and wondering whether any of it is actually working, subscribe and like this video. It will help more than you think. Here's what most people believe about financial freedom: that you'll know when you've arrived, that there's a moment, a number on a screen, a congratulations from someone who matters, maybe a dinner out to celebrate, something that marks the transition, some signal that the years of discipline paid off. There is no signal. That's not a flaw in the system. That's exactly how it works. Financial freedom doesn't come with a ribbon to cut or a crowd to cheer. It comes in quietly, like a Tuesday morning where you look at your accounts and realize the math has changed, and then you go to work anyway, because habit is harder to break than people think, and because nobody around you would understand if you explained it. Think of it like running a race where only you can see the finish line. Everyone else is watching the wrong metric. They're tracking cars and vacations and square footage. You've been tracking something invisible, the slow accumulation of income that doesn't require your time. And when you cross that line, the crowd isn't looking. They never were. The real enemy in this story isn't income or the stock market or even expenses. It's the pull to perform, the pressure to show your progress in a language other people can recognize. A new car is a language everyone reads. A brokerage account at $620,000 is a language almost nobody around you speaks. Ryan speaks the first language fluently. Claire stopped caring about the second one years ago. That difference is the whole story. Claire didn't start with an advantage. She graduated from Ohio State in 2011 with $34,000 in student loans and a starting salary of $48,000. What she had was a specific decision she made at 27. She sat down with a spreadsheet and wrote a number at the top of the page. The number was $1,850. That was her monthly expenses: rent, groceries, utilities, car insurance, stripped to what she actually needed, not what looked normal for someone her age. Then she multiplied it by 300. That gave her $555,000. That's the math behind the crossover point. 25 times your annual expenses invested, withdrawn at 4% per year, covers your life indefinitely based on decades of historical data. Claire's goal wasn't beach retirement. It was the moment her portfolio generated $1,850 a month on its own. After that, work would be a choice. She maxed her Roth IRA every year, $7,000, put 15% into her 401k, never touched the match. She drove the Civic because the Civic kept $500 a month in her brokerage account instead of a lease payment. For 9 years, people at work felt a little sorry for her. She skipped the group trips, brought lunch. When colleagues quietly asked if she was doing okay financially, she said she was fine. One person offered to help her find a side gig. She thanked him and moved on. At 36, her portfolio crossed $620,000. 4% of that is $24,800 a year, just over $2,000 a month. Her expenses were $1,850. The math had changed. Only 20% of American households earn any passive income at all. Among those who do, the median is $4,200 a year, roughly $350 a month, which doesn't cover a car payment in most cities. Claire's investment income had crossed her entire cost of living. She was in a category so small it barely has a name. She didn't tell anyone. She went to work on Monday. Ryan, meanwhile, had just signed the lease. He'd earned a $9,000 raise that year and did what most people do, upgraded his life to match it. The BMW was the visible part. A new apartment ran $400 more per month, a few nicer dinners. By the time the raise settled into his lifestyle, it had disappeared. His savings rate didn't move. He wasn't being reckless. He was doing what everyone around him did. The car made the raise feel real, like the work had meant something you could point to. That's the trap. Not the car. The need for progress to be visible. 3 months after Claire hit the crossover point, she bought a house, paid cash, $214,000, a modest place in a suburb west of Columbus, nothing remarkable from the outside. She'd been saving a separate fund for years, kept out of the market for stability. She wired the money on a Thursday and got the keys on a Friday. Word got around the office the following week. The tone changed. It wasn't pity anymore. People who had felt vaguely sorry for Claire, the woman with the old car and the packed lunches, started asking questions she hadn't been asked before. Where did that money come from? Did she get an inheritance? Wasn't she just renting a one-bedroom last year? One colleague, not unkindly, said, "You must have gotten really lucky." This is the part nobody tells you about. There's a window, early in the quiet building years, where people assume you're struggling. And then there's a moment when results become visible. A house paid in cash, a decision to leave a job, a lack of obvious financial stress, and the assumption flips. Lucky, helped, didn't do it the right way somehow. Claire had done it exactly the right way, for 9 years, with no audience. But here's what surprised even her. After the crossover point, she kept working. Not because she had to, because she didn't fully trust the number yet. There's a psychological trap that catches almost everyone who gets close to financial independence. The feeling that it's not quite enough. That one more year of contributions will make it safer. That the market might drop. That something might go wrong. Researchers call it just one more year syndrome. You build the thing, you reach the math, and then you don't leave. Because leaving is irreversible. Because the job, even one you'd choose not to do if you had options, at least feels certain. The portfolio doesn't. Claire worked for 14 more months past the crossover point before she believed it. That's not a failure. That's what crossing an invisible finish line actually feels like. Not euphoria, not a clear signal, just a slow, building realization that the race is already over, and you're still running out of habit. The first thing worth doing is calculating your actual number. Monthly expenses multiplied by 300. Most people have never done this. Not because it's hard, but because it makes the goal feel too real to ignore. Claire's number was $555,000. Yours might be $400,000 or $900,000. But you can't move toward a target you've never written down. The second thing is separating "I can't afford this" from "I've chosen not to." They sound similar. They're completely different. Claire could have leased a car. She chose not to. She didn't announce that. She just knew it. That internal clarity is what makes years of quiet building feel intentional instead of like deprivation. Ryan doesn't have that distinction yet. Every purchase feels like a reward because the alternative feels like a limitation, not a decision. I've been investing for over a decade, and the shift I've seen matter most, in my own approach and watching others, is when someone stops explaining their financial choices to people who weren't asking. Not defensively, just quietly. The moment you stop justifying why you drive the old car, why you brought lunch, why you skipped the trip, the math starts compounding faster because you've stopped paying the social tax on every decision. The third thing, the crossover point doesn't announce itself. You have to go looking for it. Run the numbers every 6 months. Know where you are relative to your target. Claire knew to the dollar. Ryan tracks his paycheck. That difference has nothing to do with income. Ryan is still in the building, still getting nods in the hallway. The BMW is in the parking garage, and it looks exactly the way it's supposed to look. People see Ryan and think, that guy is doing well. Claire is still in the building too. Same Civic, same desk. But the relationship she has with that building is different now. She stays because she chooses to. She could leave after the next bad quarter review, the next pointless reorganization, the next time her manager makes a decision that makes no sense. She doesn't have to calculate whether she can afford to quit. She already knows. That's what financial freedom actually feels like from the inside. Not fireworks, not a celebration dinner, just a quiet, permanent option that nobody else in the room knows you're carrying. The race ends the day you stop running for people who were never watching anyway. If you've hit a milestone, 10K invested, 100K, your crossover point, drop it in the comments. No context needed, just the number. You'd be surprised how many people in this community are further along than they let on.